Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Jaya Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishike. So continuing with the discussion on nectar of instruction, starting text number 1. Vacho vegam manasa krodha vegam jiva vegam udarupastha vegam metan veganyo vishaheta dhira sarvam api mam prithvim sashishyat. So, as I said, these 11 verses by Rupa Goswami, they take us from 0 to 100, topmost perfection of Bhakti Yoga. So the first words and the first word of that verse is Vacho Begam. Translation: a sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, manasa, then actions of anger, krodha vegam, and the urges of tongue, belly, and genitals. Vacha vegam, mansa krodha vegam, jivva vegam, udar upastha vegam. Then he is qualified to make disciples all over the world. It's not that anybody and everybody can become a guru unless until his senses are in control. One cannot become a guru and forget about one making any spiritual progress. And of the first sense that has to be controlled is the urge to speak, vacho vegam. So means one who cannot control these senses, he cannot be considered Goswami, as Prabhupada mentioned in the preface. And without controlling of mind and the senses, there is no way one can make progress spiritually. No way. In the first sense to control is the urge to speak. That's what Prabhupada says in the purport. And it's surprising. Prabhupada starts off somewhere else. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 1st chapter, 9th and 10th verse, Parikshit Maharaj placed a number of intelligent questions before Shukdev Goswami. One of these questions was, why do people undergo atonement if they cannot control their senses? So what's the connection between atonement and senses? For instance, a thief may know perfectly well that he may be arrested for his stealing, and he may actually even see a thief arrested by the police, yet he continues to steal. Experience is gathered by hearing and seeing. One who is less intelligent gathers experience by seeing, and one who is more intelligent gathers experience by hearing. And actually, in this regard, there are 4 kinds of people. First, most intelligent, they gather experience or they learn by hearing. So if a thief hears, some old man, some wise man tells him that if you get caught, you will be beaten up by the police, you will be thrown into jail, so don't steal anymore. And he says, okay, I will not steal. Then lesser than that, he learns by seeing. So he heard from some old wise man, but then he saw another thief got caught up, beaten up, put in the jail, and he said, okay, it's too much, I will not do it. Then there is a lesser thief, lesser intelligent. They learn by experiencing it. They're saying, oh, I'll not get caught. But he gets caught, he is beaten up by police, thrown in the jail, then he learns his lesson, then when he comes out, he says, I'm not going to do it. But there is fourth kind. Fourth kind thinks, oh, this guy was just unlucky who got caught. I will never get caught. So, but every dog has his day. So he gets caught, he gets beaten up by police, he's thrown into jail. But when he comes out, oh, okay, I made that mistake. That's why I got caught. Now I will not make that mistake. I will not get caught. But he will not give up stealing. So there are four kinds of people. And Prabhupada says, when an intelligent person hears from the law books and shastras or scriptures that stealing is not good, and hears that a thief is punished when arrested, he refrains from theft. A less intelligent person may first have to be arrested and punished for stealing to learn to stop stealing. However, a rascal, a foolish man, may have the experience of both hearing and seeing, and may even be punished, but still he continues to steal. Even if such a person atones and is punished by the government, he will again commit theft as soon as he comes out of jail. If punishment in jail is considered atonement, what is the benefit of such atonement? So that was the question Parikshit Maharaj is asking. What kind of atonement we are talking? This is not good. So Parikshit Maharaj compared atonement to an elephant's bathing. The elephant may take a very nice bath in a river, but as soon as it comes onto the bank, it throws dirt all over its body. Kunjara shochot. That's what Parikshit Maharaj said. So means elephant took bath, he came out and he became dirty. Of course, that's a nature of the elephant. But looking at from other perspective, that he's just getting dirty again. Why did he? What then is the value of its bathing? Similarly, many spiritual practitioners chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and at the same time commit many forbidden things, thinking that their chanting will counteract their offenses. Of the 10 types of offenses one can commit while chanting the holy names of the Lord, this offense is called Namno Balad Yasya Hi Papa Buddhi. Committing sinful activities on the strength of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's the 7th offense in the list of 10 offenses. So committing sinful activities on the strength of chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Similarly, certain Christians go to church to confess their sins, thinking that confessing their sins before a priest and performing some penance will relieve them from the results of their weekly sins. The results of their weekly sins, because they go every week, they go every Sunday, they go to church to confess to the Father. And then they say, okay, I've confessed, I'm cleansed, I'm clean now, and then come Monday, what Monday? Even when they come back from church on Sunday, they start committing sins again. As soon as Saturday is over and Sunday comes, they again begin the sinful activities, expecting to be forgiven the next Saturday. Okay, so they go on Saturday for confessing. This kind of prashchita or atonement is condemned by Parikshit Maharaj. Why? Because in this kind of atonement, the heart is not cleansed. There is no talk of, there is no thought of controlling the senses, so we don't commit the sins again. And until the senses are controlled, there is no question of making spiritual progress. And this is what Parikshit Maharaj said. This kind of atonement is condemned by Parikshit Maharaj, the most intelligent king of his time. Shukdev Goswami, equally intelligent as befitting the spiritual master Maharaj Parikshit, answered the king and confirmed that his statement concerning atonement was correct. A sinful activity cannot be counteracted by a pious activity. A sinful activity cannot be counteracted by a pious activity. These days, If you just look at Hindu society, Monday, just go to Lord Shiva's temple, put some bel pata upside down, put some, offer some milk and some agarbatti, and they think they have done enough pious activity for the day. 5-10 minutes they spend with Lord Shiva. They have done enough pious activity, no change in the in sense gratification or no change in their attitude. And they think that's it. Tuesday, they go to Hanumanji temple, do some chadava and this or that, dikhawa, and they think that's it. I'm done. I'm all saved now. Wednesday, I don't know which temple, Ganesha temple probably on Wednesday. And Thursday is Lakshmi Ji's day, so Lakshmi Ji's temple. Friday, whichever temple. Saturday, Shani temple. Sunday, whole day at home, doing all sorts of nice activities. So this does not save one. It cannot save one from the resultants of impious activities. Yes, whatever pious activities they've done, yes. It's a pious activity to go to a temple and do some charity, some service. It's definitely a pious activity. But it doesn't change the heart of the person. It does not. And when somebody is in really, really big trouble, then he really goes to temple maybe twice a day. But it still does not take, first, it doesn't change his heart, and it doesn't take him out of the reactions of impious activities. A sinful activity cannot be counteracted by a pious activity. Very, very important line. What is a real prayaschitta? The real prayaschitta atonement is a awakening of our dormant Krishna consciousness. Bhakti is a real atonement, not punyakar. But people, they are after all these pious activities. And for that, somebody will say, okay, go to this Baba and get his blessings, you'll be fine. Go to this Majar, go to this temple, do this, put some nariyal here or this there and that there. All sorts of, follow this Lal Kitab, follow this Gulabi Kitab, whatever Kitab they want to, they'll do everything except doing bhakti. So it just doesn't help. Yeah, yes, in a sense, better than not doing anything, do something. Yeah, okay. But it doesn't take away their inclination to commit sins. It doesn't take away the inclination to gratify the senses. And it doesn't give a real relief either. Only by bhakti. Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhaja. Brahma Samhita. Lord Brahma himself said, who did the whole creation. Of course, he's a secondary creator, but he still did the creation. He is saying, Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhaja. But people in general, they just don't understand this. And of course, the so-called guru they go to, they themselves have no knowledge of this. And the guru, and as the shloka itself, unless and until vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jivva vegam, udarupasta vegam, then he is not, if he doesn't have this, then he is not qualified to make disciples. And if somebody has control over his senses, he can make disciples all over the world. Prithvim Sashishyat. That's why Prabhupada was so qualified And when he came out of India and established ISKCON, he traveled all over the world and he made disciples all over the world because he had all these qualities. And there are so many people in India. They have Jagat Guru this and Jagat Guru that, have no control over the senses, and they call themselves Jagat Guru and then they haven't even gotten out of their own village. Call themselves Jagat Guru. So this is what scriptures are. So the first thing is to control the senses. No matter what we do, control of the senses. That is a real atonement. Atonement, why atonement? Atonement is because we have committed sins, that's why we are in the material world. And the sins, the prashit of that sin is not just to worship some demigods. Bhakti, that is atonement. So we get out of this, the jail of material world. The real atonement is bhakti, and bhakti starts it. Vacho vegam manasa krodha. Of course, that's nothing to do with bhakti, but with bhakti we get this tendency or strength to control the senses. Prabhupada further writes, let me think a little further. Real atonement involves coming to real knowledge, and for this there is a standard process. Real knowledge. So real atonement. Atonement is for the sin, and the sin is something we have done, even if we don't understand what. The real sin was to become envious of Krishna, to enjoy separately from him. So for that, we have to perform real atonement, prayaschitta, and that involves coming to real knowledge. And for this, there is a standard process. When one follows a regulated, hygienic process, he does not fall sick. A human being is meant to be trained according to certain principles to revive his original knowledge. Original knowledge, what is that? I'm not this body, I'm a spirit soul, I'm part and parcel of Krishna. My only goal of life is to attain love for Krishna. That is the original knowledge. Rest everything is not original, it's just imposed knowledge, artificial knowledge. Such a methodical life is described as tapasya. It is real tapasya, especially in this material world, because so many things to take our attraction or to distract us. So tapasya means to bring our attention back to the real thing, not to some ephemeral, transient, artificial things. One can be gradually elevated to the standard of real knowledge or Krishna consciousness by practicing austerity and celibacy, brahmacharya, by controlling the mind, by controlling the senses, by giving up one's possessions in charity, by being avoidedly truthful, by keeping clean, and by practicing yogasanas. However, if one is fortunate enough to get the association of a pure devotee, he can easily surpass all the practices for controlling the mind by the mystic yoga process, simply by following the regulative principles of Krishna consciousness. So all the other processes, charity, yoga, tapasya, jnana, they're good. Nobody is saying they're not good, but they're not enough. Because even after doing that, one can still fall in the allurements of Maya. But if one comes in the process, comes in the association of a pure devotee, he can easily surpass all the practices for controlling the mind by the mystic yoga process, simply by following the regulative principles of Krishna consciousness. And what are the regulative principles? Regulative means yam, and then there is niyam. So yam means things we are not supposed to do. Refrain from what we are supposed to do is we are supposed to refrain from or not do illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling. So very broad, but obviously Prabhupada in other books, other places, he has given details of what is illicit sex, what is meat eating, means what to avoid and what to avoid in intoxication and gambling. And then what is niyam? Means what there are some do's and some don'ts. So don'ts we know. So what is a do? And by engaging in the service of the Supreme Lord under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master. So this easy process, so Prabhupada says it's easy process, is being recommended by Srila Rupa Goswami. Easy process. He said, but just do that and Vacha Vegam, Mansa Krodha Vegam, that will definitely happen. It's not that easy for people like us. So first one must control his speaking power. That's the first thing. It's mentioned by Rupa Goswami. Every one of us has a power of speech. As soon as we get an opportunity, we begin to speak. If we do not speak about Krishna consciousness, we speak about all sorts of nonsense. A toad in a field speaks by croaking, and similarly, everyone who has a tongue wants to speak, even if all he has to say is nonsense. But they think it makes very much sense. Look at the TV debates these days. That's a new thing. Older days, these things were not there. Now, TV debate, every channel has 5, 6, 8 people really fighting, debating. Every day, find a new topic to fight about. What good does it do to people? Nobody knows. Nobody cares. And then every channel. When we were growing up, there were hardly few channels. And when we were little, there was just one channel, Doordarshan, that's it. And even that wasn't clear. And now we have 400-500 channels to choose from. And we get confused. And people, on every channel, somebody is saying something. And on top of it, now we have internet. So, and everybody is speaking, everybody. And this is a proper, a toad in the field he speaks by croaking, and similarly, everyone who has a tongue wants to speak. The croaking of the toad, however, simply invites the snake, please come here and eat me. Nevertheless, although it is inviting death, the toad goes on croaking. The talking of materialistic men and impersonalist Mayavadi philosophers may be compared to the croaking of frogs. They're always speaking nonsense and thus inviting death to catch them. Controlling speech. Now, what does controlling speech mean? Controlling speech does not mean self-imposed silence, the external process of mauna. As Mayavadi philosophers think, silence may appear helpful for some time, but ultimately it proves a failure. The meaning of controlled speech conveyed by Rupa Goswami advocates the positive process of Krishna Katha, engaging the speaking process and glorifying the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. The tongue can thus glorify the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord. The preacher of Krishna Katha is always beyond the clutches of death. This is the significance of controlling the urge to speak. So Prabhupada gives this example of croaking of frogs. This actually comes from Bhagavatam. So anybody and everybody who just speaking, they're just inviting depth, nothing else. They're just wasting this energy, this strength of speech that Krishna has given us to just make more money or have for more followers, and basically to try to enjoy this material world. And all it's doing is inviting death. Okay, come, eat me. If the frogs don't croak like that at night, snake will never find out where the frog is. But they croak, they talk like that, and snake finds where the frog is, and he comes and eats that frog. And controlling speech also, Professor, does not mean self-imposed silence, that I'll not speak. Yes, it is better than not speaking nonsense, but the best thing is, because Krishna has given us this power to speak, to use this power, the strength, in service of Krishna. So that is real Vacho Vegam. And when we do that, then other senses, it also helps in controlling other senses. That's why this sense, the tongue, Vacho Vegam, is the first thing to control. Okay, I guess we can stop here. It's a long purport, so we'll go in pieces. We'll take it up tomorrow. Anybody has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhuji.
Please
I'm
accept
just
mine.
remembering when you taught this book first time, it went on for 2 years.
I know.
Now it looks like it's going to be fast.
Yeah, but that time we were doing once a week.
Yeah, yes, yeah. Once a week, yeah.
Yeah, now it's every day.
Right. Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhamma Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Mata Dandapan.
Prabhuji, I have two questions. Actually, one from yesterday. Yes, this is कल आपने बताया that Sambandh, Abhiday, and then Prayojan. So Sambandh means what is our relationship with the Lord. Abhiday means what is the process of attaining that relationship. That means what process of devotional service. And what does Prayojan stands for? Prayojan.
The final goal.
What is our final goal?
Goal of Abhidaya, goal of devotional service, which is love for Krishna.
Okay, thank you. Prabhuji, I have one more question. So, आपने जैसे अभी बताया, today you said that unless or until we take to the path of bhakti, the inclination for sense gratification will not go. I mean, if we take other paths, we would still have the inclination for sense gratification or inclination for doing wrong thing. But even after getting into bhakti, we still have, some inclination to sense gratification, though at least we have the realization that it is sense gratification, but wo inclination, still there. Sometimes it still sprouts up. So, how will that?
First, if we restrain these four things: meat eating, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex. So those things, at least those sinful activities are gone. But still the inclination is there, yes, to eat something nice, to see something beautiful. But for that, then there are positive engagements. Like, you want to eat something nice? Yes, eat. Offer it to Krishna and eat. So it doesn't mean we're going to become rocks, that no emotions. Bhakti doesn't mean that. But only it means sense gratification will be there, but in a positive manner, in a purified manner. But not the sinful way. The whole material world is after those kind of gratification. That will not go for. Is it okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, I have one, in this regards only. So, for example, we do offer, bhoga to Krishna and then honor as a prasada. But what happens is when we cook, I mean, though like Srila Prabhupada said, you fake it until you succeeded, but still when we cook, the desire is, okay, what do we want to eat today? Or, what is it?
Yeah, that is, see, those are the stages. In Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Yat karoshi yad ashnashi yad juhoshi dadasi. Yeah, whatever you do, you offer it to me. First he says that. Then he comes to Patram Pusham Phalam Toim Yome Bhaktya Pariyachati. So both things are same, but there's a difference in consciousness. First is whatever you do as an offering. Second is you do this thing with love for me. So it takes time. It's a gradual progress. It's not going to happen overnight. It takes time, but it's the right path, right way of going. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Okay, I guess we can
one more
stop.
question.
Yes, Prabhu, sorry.
Sorry to jump in the middle. So the question is, Brahmaji and Shivji, like you had the story before, like they also sometimes deviate, though they have done a lot of austerities before. But at times we have seen some of the pastimes where some of the stories we have seen that they deviates, their mind deviates, I would say. So Prabhuji, in that case, those are so heightened level of bhakti they have for Lord. And whereas we people who are like sansarik or materialistic people, let's suppose we are also in bhakti, but we there is always a tendency for us, the material people, those are in this world, to fall back again more frequently than Brahmaji and Shivji, because Brahmaji Shivji we cannot compare them. So मैं क्या सोच रहा हूँ, I was thinking कि if they deviate that level of their bhakti and austerities they have done for Lord, then where are we standing? We are just like an ant or something.
See what Brahmaji,
Any
Shivji,
thought on this, Prabhuji?
Yeah, but what they do, the austerity they perform is for pleasure of Krishna, and what they go through is orchestrated by Krishna. That's a different story. So whatever we go through is because of our rectification. And moreover, like in every pastime of Brahmaji, Shivji with Krishna, with Lord Vishnu, it's just clear. They just take shelter of him right away. Okay, we understand and we are surrendered. So that part we have to learn from them. If they surrender, what's stopping us from surrendering? So all we have to do is surrender. And for us, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there. No? He has made it very simple. And after that, Prabhupada, he has made it very, very simple for us. All we have to do is just follow this much. That's it. We don't need to do big austerities.
Yes, Prabhuji. So I got my answer. Surrender and continuous bhakti and chanting, and we'll just follow that. Yeah.
Yeah, just
Thank you,
chanting.
Prabhuji.
Chanting and 4 principles. That's it.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Thank you all. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri.
Hare Krishna. Jai Shri